Math time with Miss Hartzell, Module 7, Lesson 13. I can solve two-step word problems involving dollars or cents with totals within $100 or $1.
Hey there, friends. Miss Hartzell here. So just a reminder that tomorrow we are going to do another check for understanding about Module 7 so far. So today we're going to practice solving word problems for one more day. And today the word problems are going to be two-step word problems. So we will need to use multiple steps in order to solve the problems. So if we read our problems carefully and we deeply think about what's happening in the problem, we are going to do a great job solving these problems. So have perseverance, use critical thinking, and do not give up. You've got this. Let's get our brains thinking with a pause and think about the difference between $100 and $1.
So today in our word problems, we will be solving problems that involve totals within $100 and $1. So let's just pause and think for a moment how these two values are different. What is the contrast or the difference between $100 and $1? Think about the value of these two different bills. When you're finished thinking, press play.
All right, so like our target said, the problems that we are solving today are going to be two-step problems. So when we're solving, we will need to figure out one step before we figure out the second step and get to the final answer. So that is why it is always important to read the entire problem and notice and understand the information that's given to you in this problem. Sometimes word problems are easy where you can just use one strategy and you get to the answer. But as we know, life is not always easy, and so therefore math is not always going to be so easy, and we're going to need to take multiple steps. Just like video games, you've got lots of levels to get through before you get to the end. So let's pay attention to the information that's given to us. Also, we are going to have problems involving cents, like we've been doing for the past few days, and also we'll have an example of a problem involving dollars. So just notice the different symbols that are used and the different information that we might have to figure out for those two different values. Okay, so let's just get started with the first problem. So London has 2 dimes, 5 nickels, and 13 pennies. Her friend Briella gives her 1 more coin. Now London has 68 cents. What coin did Briella give London? So if I understand this correctly, London and Briella are friends, which is great. But what's important is that London had money, and then the friend, Briella, gave London another coin, 1 more coin. So she increased London's total value. So these coins that she had before had the value of all of them increased a little bit because Briella gave her 1 more coin. Now London has 68 cents. Okay, so what coin did Briella give London? So the information that I have about London's total value, what she had before Briella gave her the coin, is given to me in a coin list. So in order to figure out what London really has in cent form, then I need to figure this out. So what I did to solve this problem is I created a data chart. I created the 3 categories because I noticed Briella had 3 different coins. She had dimes, nickels, and pennies. So I made a category for each of those coins. And then I looked at how many she had of each category. She had 2 dimes, 5 nickels, and 13 pennies. And then I took that information to figure out the total value for each of the coin categories. So I took 2 times 10, 2 groups of 10 cents equals 20 cents. 5 groups of 5 cents equals 5 times 5 equals 25 cents. And 13 groups of 1 cent coins, 13 times 1, that equals 13 cents. So that's good for each of the categories, but I want to know the total value of what London had before Briella gave her that coin. Because I'm not going to be able to figure out that mystery coin without knowing this total value, what London started with. So I added my information together, 20 plus 25 plus 13. And when I added those numbers together, I got 58 cents. So now I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I almost have figured this out, but I'm not done yet. So that was my first step. I had to figure out what London had as a total value in cents. So I looked back in the problem and I remembered that London now has 68 cents. So I know what she has now. She has 68 cents. And there are the 3 categories, the 3 different coins that make up the 68 cents. But there's that missing coin. So to figure out what 4 numbers when added together equals 68 cents, I need to find a difference between 68 cents and 58 cents. Because when I add 20 plus 25 plus 13, that's 58. So when I found that difference, 68 minus 58, that difference is 10 cents. So there's only one coin in the United States that is worth 10 cents, and that is a dime. So that mystery coin that Briella gave London is a dime. So I restated the words in my question to write an answer sentence and solve this problem. Briella gave London a dime. And as always, it's great practice to circle your final answer, okay? So notice how that took 2 steps. This was my first step. I had to figure out what actual cent value London had before I could figure out the coin that Briella had given her. Let's move on. Topher bought a pretzel stick for a dime and a nickel. He also bought a juice box for 18 cents more than the pretzel stick. How much did he spend on the pretzel and juice box? Okay, so if I understand this correctly, this character Topher is buying some food and a drink. And it seems like those 2 items do not cost the same because the pretzel stick, he used a dime and a nickel to buy. But when he bought the juice was 18 more cents than the pretzel stick. So the juice box was more money than the pretzel stick. And what I need to figure out is how much he spent on both items. So there's some work to do. Let's start with the first step. Let's figure out how much each item costs. So to do this work, I used a tape diagram. I looked back in my problem to find out the information about both items that he bought, the pretzel and the juice. I remembered that the pretzel stick, he used a dime and a nickel. So in my first tape diagram, I drew the dime and the nickel. And I know that I'll add those together so that I'll find the total value of the pretzel. The information that I got about the juice box was that the juice box was more. So when I drew this tape diagram, I made a longer rectangle because the information from the problem told me that the juice box was more than the pretzel stick. So this tape diagram has to be bigger to represent that. And then I also learned that it was exactly 18 cents more. So between the pretzel stick and the cost of the juice, that's 18 more cents. So to figure out how much this juice cost, I need to take the value of the pretzel, 15 cents, plus 18 cents more, and I will figure out, and then I figured out that it was 33 cents. So the pretzel was 15 cents and the juice was 33 cents. Okay, so I figured that out using this tape diagram. But I'm not done, because the question is not how much did he spend on just the pretzel and just the juice box. I need to figure out how much he spent on both items together. So when he went to that cashier and he went to buy both of those items, how much money did he spend in all? So here's my second step. I took the information I knew about the pretzel, 15 cents. I took the information that I just solved about the juice, 33 cents, and I put that information together to find the total cost. And when I did that, I figured out that Topher had spent 48 cents on both items. And I look back in that question to restate and make an answer sentence. Topher spent 48 cents on the pretzel and juice box. So again, notice how we needed to have 2 steps before we could answer the question and find the solution. Last problem. This last problem, you'll notice, involves dollars. So our first 2 problems were very similar to some of the problems that we've been solving for the past few days involving cents. But some of the same skills that we've been working and using and some of the same strategies are going to help us solve problems that involve dollars as well. Just remember that $1 does not equal $100. Okay, so when we're writing these numbers, we want to be using a dollar symbol, and just remember that these 2 things are not equal. $1 has a much less value than $100. Okay, but none of our answers will be more than $100. So if you find that you have answers that are above 100, then you will want to check your work. Okay, last problem, let's read it. Takai bought a game at the store for $16. He had 2 $5 bills and 4 $1 bills left over. How much money did he have before buying the game? So this time, our character is buying something. He's buying a game, and we know the cost of the item. It's not given to us in any coin list or dollar list. They tell us in the problem. It cost exactly $16. But after he bought the game, he had some money left over. He had 2 $5 bills and 4 $1 bills left over. So I need to figure out how much he had before he bought the game. So in the past, what did he have before he bought that game? So there's some information that I need to figure out before I can answer that question. And that information is how much was that leftover part. So I drew a picture. I modeled 2 $5 bills and I modeled 4 $1 bills. And after I did that, it was really easy to count. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the change, or what was left over, was $14. So that's great, but that's not the end of my work, because I have to answer what he had before he bought the game. So if he has $14 left over and his game costs $16, if I put this information together, then I'm going to figure out what happened before he bought the game. When I add 14 plus 16, I get $30, because 6 plus 4 is 10, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, for a total of $30. And I could not solve this until I figured out exactly how much Takai had left over after he bought that game. And because I know the game cost $16, if I want to know what happened before he bought that game, before he gave the cashier or the store $16, I have to put that information together. And it was equal $30. So to answer the question, how much money did he have before buying the game? Takai had $30 before buying the game. So as you're solving your problems today, you will need to take multiple steps, 2 steps, to get to your answer. Don't give up. Try your best. There's lots of different strategies that I've modeled for you. You can make data charts, you can make models, you can make tape diagrams, use whatever strategy works best for you. You could even use real money if that has been helping you to solve problems. As you know, and I always say, do your best because you are the best. You've got this. Persevere and have a great day.